Today we are going to be looking at how we can multiply radical expressions. So here, let's look at our first example. We have the square root of 2 times the square root of 8. We can multiply those because they both have the same root. So we can say that this equals the square root of 2 times 8. So we just rewrite it under 1 square root. Both 2 times 8 is 16, and the square root of 16 we know is 4. So our answer is 4. So let's look at the next one. Cube root of 3 times the cube root of negative 9 equals the cube root of 3 times a negative 9. 3 times a negative 9 is a negative 27. And we also know that the cube root of a negative 27 is just a negative 3. So let's look at the next one. 4th root of 16 times by the 4th root of negative 4. That really equals the 4th root of 16 times by a negative 4. And 16 times by a negative 4 is a negative 64. But what we've learned in our last lessons is that when we have a 4th root of a negative number, it's not possible. There's no way we can multiply that one number 4 times to get a negative number. So let's look at this next problem. We have the 4th root of 16 times the 4th root of 81. So that really equals the 4th root of 16 times 81. And 16 times 81 is 1,296. And the 4th root of 1,296 is 6. Let's look at how we can simplify radical expressions. So here we have the square root of 50x to the 4th. So let's look at 50 and break that down and find out all the factors. So 50 we can end up with 5 times 10. Since 5 is prime, I know I'm done with that one, I can't break it down. 10 becomes 5 times 2, and both of those are prime as well. So we can rewrite this problem to be, well, we have 2 5s, so 5 squared times by 2, and then we still have our x to the 4th. So we rewrite 50 as 5 squared times 2. So now if we look, we have a square root, so we want groups of 2. So we have 2 5s, 1 2, and we have 4 x's. So right now we have one group of 5s. We can't pull out a 2 because there's only one of them. And right now we have 2 groups of x's we can pull out. So what we're left with in our square root is a 2. So let's look at the next one, 72. We can break 72 down into 8 times 9. 8 can turn into 4 times 2. 2 is prime. 4 can turn into 2 times 2, and both of those are prime. And 9 is 3 and 3. So now that we have all of our prime numbers, the square root of 1, 2, 3, we have 3 2s, and we have 2 3s. We still have our x to the 3rd left over. So now we have 1, 2, 3 2s, 2 3s, and 3 x's. So we still want groups of 2 because we're working with the square root. So we have one group of 2's we can pull out, one group of 3's we can pull out, and one group of x's. And what's left over is a 2 and an x. Just the last part to simplify, 2 times 3 is 6, so we're left with 6x times by the square root of 2x. In our last problem for the day, let's look at the cube root of 80 times x squared. So 80, we can break that down and say, well, 8 times 10. 8 becomes 4 and 2 is prime. 4 becomes 2 and 2. And 10 is 5 times 2. So those are broken down. So if we rewrite this, the cube root, 1, 2, 3, there's 4 2's and a 5, and we have x to the 7th. So if we write this, we know we have 4 2's, 1 5, and 7 x's. We want groups of 3 this time because we're working with the cube root. So if we look at 2 to the 4th, that means we have one group of 2 3's. Can't pull out 5 because we don't have 3 of them, but we have 2 groups of x's. And what we have left over is we have a 2, a 5, and an x. So when we simplify this further, that's a cube root. 2 times 5 is 10x.